Good day, everyone. Again, this is Teacher Jana, and we're back again for another exciting and meaningful lesson. For today's lesson, pag-uusapan natin ang isang napakahalagang bahagi ng research, especially kapag nasa stage na tayo ng data collection. Our topic for today is constructing a research instrument and establishing its validity and reliability. Ngayon, kapag sinabi nating research instrument, ano ba agad na pumapasok sa isip nyo? So usually, questionnaire, survey, interview questions, or maybe checklist. Okay, so tandaan natin na hindi ibig sabihin na kapag nakagawa na tayo ng questionnaire ay research instrument na agad ito na maaari nating gamitin. May proseso muna tayong kailangan sundin, kailangan nating siguraduhin na ang mga tanong na ginawa natin ay talagang related sa research problem, variables, and also indicators. At higit sa lahat, kailangan nating malaman kung ang instrument natin ay valid at reliable. So kapag sinabi nating valid, ang tanong natin, tama ba ang sinusukat ng instrument natin? Kapag reliable naman, consistent ba ang results na nakukuha natin? So habang tinatalakay natin ang lesson na to, tandaan nyo ang dalawang importanteng tanong na yan. Are we measuring the right thing? And also, are we measuring it consistently? Before we proceed, tingnan muna natin ang ating learning objectives. By the end of the lesson, dapat kaya niyong i-define ang mga importanteng terms tulad ng research instrument, variable, indicator, validity, and reliability. Hindi sapat na memorize lang niyo ang definition. Ang goal natin ay maintindihan niyo kung paano ginagamit ang mga concepts na to sa actual research. Pangalawa, dapat ma-explain niyo ang steps in constructing a research instrument. So, ibig sabihin, kapag sinabi kong may research problem ka, paano ka gagawa ng questionnaire? Dapat alam nyo kung saan magsisimula at ano ang susunod na step. Pangatlo, dapat marunong kayong gumawa ng research items na clear, specific, relevant, and unbiased. Meaning, hindi lang basta magandang tanong. Dapat malinaw, specific, related sa research at hindi leading ang question. Pag-aaralan din natin ang common types of validity at reliability. At pag-uusapan natin kung bakit kailangan ang expert validation at pilot testing. Finally, dapat ma-distinguish nyo ang validity at reliability. So class, habang nakikinig kayo, huwag lang kayong mag-focus sa definition. Focus on the application. Let's start with the most basic question. What is a research instrument? According to our lesson, a research instrument is a tool used to collect, measure, or record data needed to answer research questions. Sa mas simpleng explanation, ang research instrument ay kasangkapan or tool na ginagamit ng researcher para makakuha ng kinakailangang data. For example, may research kayo tungkol sa study habits of senior high school students. So, paano malalaman ang study habits ng students? Hindi naman natin pwedeng hulaan. So, kailangan natin silang tanungin or sukatin using an appropriate instrument. So, maaari tayong gumawa ng questionnaire. For example, I review my lessons before an examination. And then, bibigyan lang natin sila ng choices tulad ng always, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. So, ang questionnaire na yon ang magiging research instrument natin. Pero tandaan, the instrument should be based on the research objectives, variables, and indicators. Hindi tayo gagawa ng questions simply because we think they are interesting. So, every question should have a purpose. Now, let's talk about variable and indicator. So, ito yung dalawang terms na kailangan yung maintindihan ng mabuti because this will guide you when constructing your instrument. First is variable. So, a variable is something that can have different values or characteristics. For example, study habits, motivation, academic performance, time management. So, bakit variable ang mga ito? Dahil hindi pare-pareho ang level ng bawat respondent. So for example, hindi lahat ng students ay pareho ang study habits. May students na nag-aaral araw-araw. May students na nag-aaral lang kapag may exam. May students naman na may study schedule talaga. So nagkakaroon ng variation. Okay, so now what is an indicator? An indicator ay isang specific or observable aspect na ginagamit natin para masukat ang variable. For example, our variable is study habits. So, masyadong broad iyon. So, kailangan natin itong hatiin. For example, time management, study environment, review habits, note-taking, or also concentration. So, those are our indicators. So, para madaling tandaan, variable, this is the bigger concept. Indicator, ito yung specific part of that concept. Now, class, let us distinguish questionnaire from research item. Ang questionnaire ay parang buong collection ng questions or statements na sasagutan ng respondents. Halimbawa, may questionnaire tayo na may 20 statements. Yung bawat individual question or statement ay tinatawag na research item. For example, I create a schedule for my study time. That is one research item. Kung mayroon tayong 20 statements, mayroon tayong 20 research items. At kapag pinagsama-sama natin ang mga yon, yun naman ang ating questionnaire. So, importante na tandaan, so every item should correspond to a variable or indicator. So, kapag gumagawa tayo ng questionnaire, huwag tayong basta magdadagdag ng question dahil parang magandang itanong. So, ask yourself, what variable or indicator does this item measure? So, kung wala kayong maipakitang connection, then kailangan yung pag-isipan kung dapat ba talagang kasama iyon. Okay, next. So here makikita nyo ang buong process. So first, we start with research problem, and then variables, indicators, items, validation, revision, pilot test, reliability testing, and then final instrument. So class, you have to memorize this sequence. Bakit? Because this shows us that constructing a research instrument is not simply writing questions. So una, kailangan natin malaman ang research problem. Then identify the variables, identify the indicators, then gumawa ng research items. After that, ipapavalidate natin. And then revise, then pilot test, and then establish reliability. And then finalize. So kung may student na nagsabi, ma'am, gumawa na po ako ng questionnaire. So pwede ko na pong ipasurvey sa respondents. So, ang next question ko naman, na-validate na ba? Na-pilot test na ba? Na-establish na ba ang reliability? Because we don't want to collect data using an instrument that has not been properly evaluated. Our first step is to identify the research problem and objectives. Ito yung starting point. Before we write any question, kailangan alam muna natin ano ba talaga ang gusto nating malaman. For example, study habits and academic performance of senior high school students. Kung ang objective natin ay malaman ang study habits ng students, then kailangan natin ng instrument that measures study habits. So, hindi tayo agad tatalon sa paggawa ng questions. We first ask, what information do we need? Halimbawa, gusto nating malaman, how often do students study? Do they follow a study schedule? Do they review their lessons? Do they have a proper study environment? So these questions guide us toward the kind of data we need. So remember, research problem first, instrument second. So hindi dapat baliktad. Now, after identifying the research problem, next is identifying the variables. For our example, independent variable ay study habits. Dependent variable naman ay academic performance. Now, bakit importanteng malaman natin ang variables? Because the variables tell us what we need to measure. For example, kung study habits ang variable, we may need a questionnaire. Pero kung academic performance ay makukuha natin from official grades, hindi necessarily kailangan gumawa ng separate questionnaire for that. So this is also an important lesson. Not every variable needs to be measured using a questionnaire. So sometimes, existing records or other appropriate data sources may be used depending on the research design. So ang mahalaga ay appropriate ang source ng data. Next step is identifying the indicators. Remember what we said earlier, a variable can be broad. So we need to break it down into measurable dimensions. For example, study habits. So we can have, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, time management, study environment, review habits, note-taking, and concentration. Okay, so now imagine if I simply tell you, measure study habits. Parang ang hirap, di ba? But if I say, measure time management, review habits, concentration, and so on. So, mas malinaw na kung anong klaseng questions ang gagawin natin. Therefore, indicators act as our roadmap. Sila yung guide natin sa paggawa ng research items. Now, we can finally write our research items. Let's use time management. So, we can I create a schedule for studying. This is clearly related to time management. Another one, I set enough time to review my lessons. Again, related, di ba? Another, I follow my planned study schedule. Again, time management. So notice the pattern. Hindi tayo gumagawa ng random questions. Each statement should have a clear connection to the indicator. So I want you to develop this habit when constructing your instrument. So every time you write an item, so you ask, anong indicator ang sinusukat nito? So kung hindi nyo ma-identify, baka kailangan nyo baguhin ang item. Now, what makes a good research item? First, we have clear. Dapat madaling maintindihan. Hindi kailangan ng malalim na vocabulary kung hindi naman necessary. Second, specific. One clear idea or behavior. Third is relevant. Dapat connected sa variable or indicator. Then fourth, unbiased. Hindi dapat pinipilit ang respondents na pumili ng certain answer. And fifth, appropriate. Dapat appropriate sa respondents. For example, kung senior high school students ang respondents natin, dapat language na understandable sa kanila. So remember, the goal is not to impress respondents. Okay? Not to impress with difficult words. The goal is to obtain accurate information from them. Let's look at this example. The weak statement says, do you regularly engage in academically productive activities during periods of discretionary temporal availability? Class, naiintindihan ba agad? Mahirap, di ba? May words na academically productive activities and also discretionary temporal availability. So these words may confuse respondents. Now look at the improved version. I study during my free time. Mas simple, mas direct, mas madaling sagutin. So one important principle in research instrument construction is use simple and familiar language whenever possible. So hindi ibig sabihin na informal ang research. It means that the respondents should understand exactly what you are asking. Kapag confused ang respondents, possible na maapektuhan ang quality ng data. Okay, now so let us discuss a common mistake called a double-barreled item. For example, I study regularly and complete my assignments on time. So ano yung problema dito? Dalawang bagay ang tinatanong natin. So number one, do you study regularly? Number two, do you complete your assignments on time? So possible na yes ang first but no ang second. So anong isasagot niya? Nagiging unclear. So that's why we separate them. I study regularly and I complete my assignments on time. So one item should ideally focus on one clear idea or behavior. So this makes the respondent's answer easier to understand and the researcher's interpretation easier as well. After writing the items, kailangan naman nating isipin paano sasagot ang respondents. So one common response format is the Likert scale. For example, 5 always, 4 often, 3 sometimes, 2 rarely, 1 never. So suppose our statement is, I review my lessons before an examination. So the students will choose the response that best describes their behavior. If ginagawa niya palagi, then 5. Kung madalas, 4. Sometimes, 3. Rarely, 2. Never, 1. So the important thing is that the scale should be appropriate to the type of statement and make sure the respondents understand what each option means. Now we are going to one of the most important concepts, validity. So validity means the extent to which an instrument actually measures what it is intended to measure. In simple words, tama ba ang sinusukat natin? So let's say your research is about study habits. Your questionnaire should contain questions about studying, reviewing, scheduling, concentration, or study environment. Pero kung ang questionnaire mo ay puro, what is your favorite color? What is your favorite subject? Who is your favorite teacher? Then hindi mo talaga sinusukat ang study habits. So even if the questionnaire looks nice and professional, it may not be appropriate for your purpose. That is why validity is about measuring the right thing. There are different types of validity. First is content validity. Sa tanong dito, nasasakop ba ng instrument ang important aspects ng variable? Second is phase validity. Sa madaling salita, mukha bang appropriate ang instrument sa intended concept? Third is construct validity. Ito naman ay tumitingin kung ang instrument ay properly representing the theoretical construct. For example, motivation, anxiety, self-confidence, engagement. So these are concepts that cannot simply be observed directly. So we need appropriate items to represent them. And fourth is criterion-related validity. So dito, tinitingnan natin kung ang scores ng instrument ay related sa isang appropriate external criterion or established measure. So don't just memorize the names. Understand what question each type is trying to answer. Let us focus on content validity. Suppose our variable is study habits, and our indicators are time management, study environment, review habits, note-taking, and concentration. Now, suppose gumawa tayo ng 20 questions. Pero lahat ng 20 questions ay tungkol sa time management. Valid ba ang coverage natin? Hindi sapat. Bakit? Because study habits has multiple indicators. Parang nag-exam ka tungkol sa buong chapter pero isang topic lang ang tinanong sa lahat ng 20 items. Technically, may questions ka pero hindi complete ang coverage. A better distribution could be 4 items for time management, 4 for study environment, 4 for review habits, 4 for note-taking, and 4 for concentration. So that gives us broader representation. That is the basic idea of content validity. After creating our instrument, kailangan natin itong ipasuri sa qualified validators. Bakit? Because sometimes kapag tayo mismo ang gumawa ng questions, hindi natin napapansin ang problems. Baka para sa atin malinaw ang question, pero para sa ibang tao, confusing pala. The validators can check relevance, so related ba ang item? Clarity, malinaw ba? Appropriateness, so suitable ba sa respondents? Alignment, connected ba sa research objective? And whether the items represent the indicators properly. The validator may say retain, or revise, or remove, or add another item. So validation helps us improve the quality of our instrument before actual data collection. So here we have an example of how the validation process can be systematic. So for every item, the validator can rate relevance. So does the item measure the intended indicator? Clarity, madali ba itong maintindihan? Appropriateness, suitable ba sa respondents? Alignment, connected ba sa objective? For example, item 2 receives relevant 4, clear 3, appropriate 4. So ano ibig sabihin dito? The validator may be saying relevant ng item, appropriate siya, pero kailangan pang ayusin ng wording. So the researcher can revise it. That's why validation is not simply about getting a score. It's about using expert feedback to improve the instrument. After validation and revision, we have pilot testing. So ano yung pilot test? Ito ay parang practice run ng questionnaire bago natin gamitin sa actual respondents. Halimbawa, grade 12 students ang target respondents natin. Hindi natin agad ibibigay sa lahat. We may first administer it to an appropriate smaller group following the approved research methodology and then observe may question bang hindi nila maintindihan? May instruction bang confusing? May response option bang hindi appropriate? May item bang paulit-ulit? Or may problem ba sa administration? So these problems can be identified during pilot testing. So think of pilot testing as subukan muna natin bago gamitin sa actual data collection. Now let's talk about reliability. Reliability means consistency or stability of results. So simple question, consistent ba ang results natin? Let's use the weighing scale example. Suppose umakyat ka sa weighing scale. First reading is 50 kilograms. Second reading, 65 kilograms. Third reading, 48 kilograms. Tapos, wala namang actual change sa weight mo. So, ano yung problem? The scale is not reliable. Bakit? Because the measurements are inconsistent. So, ganun din sa research instrument. We want an instrument that gives reasonably consistent measurements under comparable conditions. So, remember, reliability is equal to consistency. Now let us compare them. Validity. So validity asks, am I measuring the right thing? It focuses on accuracy and appropriateness. Reliability. So reliability asks, are the results consistent? It focuses on consistency or stability. So let's use an easy memory trick. So valid is equal to right. Reliable is equal to consistent. So kapag sinabi kong, does this questionnaire measure study habits? So you are thinking about validity. So kapag sinabi ko naman, does this questionnaire produce consistent results? So you are thinking about reliability. So let's make it even easier using the dartboard analogy. So imagine may target tayo. Ang bullseye yung correct target. If your darts are very close to each other but far from the bullseye, consistent sila. So they may be reliable, pero hindi sila accurate sa target. So they are not necessarily valid. Now, if your darts are consistently near the bullseye, then you have both consistency and accuracy. That's what we want in research. We don't want merely consistent results. We want results from an instrument that is appropriately measuring the intended concept. Therefore, reliability alone is not enough. We also need evidence of validity. So there are several methods for examining reliability. So first, test, retest reliability. So same instrument, different occasions, and then compare the results. Then second is internal consistency. So tinitingnan kung ang items na intended to measure the same construct ay working together consistently. So one common statistical measure is Cronbach's alpha. So third, inter-rater reliability. So ito naman ay ginagamit kapag may human judgment involvement. So for example, dalawang teachers ang nag-score ng isang presentation. If their ratings are similar, there is stronger inter-rater consistency. So again, the method depends on the type of instrument and the kind of measurement involved. So let's focus on test, retest reliability. So we use the same instrument on two different occasions. For example, today we administer a study habits questionnaire. Then after an appropriate period, we administer the same instrument again under comparable conditions. Then we compare the results. Kung reasonably consistent ang results, that provides evidence of stability. Why do we need this? Because we want to know whether the instrument gives relatively stable measurements rather than completely changing its results without a meaningful reason. So remember, test, then time passes, test again, and then compare results. Next is internal consistency. Imagine we have 5 questions measuring time management. For example, I create a study schedule, I follow my study schedule, I allocate enough time for studying, I prioritize important school tasks, I manage my study time effectively. So all these items are supposed to measure the same general area. So we want to know, do these items work together consistently? So that is what internal consistency helps us examine. So one common statistical measure is Cronbach's alpha. But please remember, high Cronbach's alpha does not automatically mean valid ang questionnaire. So it only gives us evidence related to internal consistency. We have Cronbach's alpha. So Cronbach's alpha is a statistical estimate used for examining internal consistency for appropriate multi-item scales. The value is commonly reported from 0 to 1. So generally, the higher the value, the greater the internal consistency. So the slide gives us a general guideline. So we have 0.19 above. So excellent yon. Then 0.80 to 0.89, which is good. 0.70 to 0.79, acceptable. 0.60 to 0.69 may require review. Then below 0.60, generally low. So, importanteng tandaan, these are guidelines, not universal laws. So, hindi ibig sabihin na kapag 0.69, automatic invalid na. Or kapag 0.90, automatic perfect na ang instrument. So interpretation depends on context, instrument, and research purpose. So use these values as general guides, not absolute rules. Okay, let's apply this. Suppose we have a 20-item study habits questionnaire. After reliability analysis, we get Cronbach's alpha of 0.84. According to our general guidelines, 0.84 falls under good internal consistency. So this tells us that the items are working together reasonably well as a scale. But here's the important question. Does 0.84 automatically prove that the questionnaire is valid? No. Again, high reliability does not automatically mean validity. May be consistent ng questions, but we still need to establish that they are actually measuring the intended concept. So don't confuse these two. Now, let's talk about inter-rater reliability. Ito ay important kapag may dalawang or there are more people who are evaluating the same thing. For example, my student presentation. 2 teachers will evaluate the same presentation using the same rubric. If teacher A gives 90 and teacher B gives 89, their ratings are relatively close. That suggests stronger consistency between the raters. Now, this is important because we don't want the score to depend entirely on who happens to evaluate the student. So inter-rater reliability can be useful for observation checklists, performance assessments, essay rubrics, presentations, and other activities involving judgment or scoring. Now let us put everything together. So our research topic is study habits and academic performance of senior high school students. So variable, we have study habits, indicators, time management, study environment, review habits, note-taking, and concentration. So first, we create items for indicator. For example, for time management, I create a schedule for studying. Then we select an appropriate response scale. So after that, ipapa-review natin sa qualified validators. Kapag may comments, we revise. Then we conduct a pilot test. After pilot testing, we establish reliability using an appropriate method. So for a suitable Likert type scale, one possible method is Cronbach's alpha. Then after all the necessary steps, we finalize the instrument. So ito yung complete process. So we have research problem, variables, indicators, items, validation, revision, pilot test, reliability, and then final instrument. Let's now apply the concept to a real-life situation. Imagine a school wants to know, are students satisfied with our online learning system? What should we measure? So we can identify indicators such as ease of use, accessibility, learning materials, communication, and technical support. Now, for each indicator, we create appropriate questions. For example, the online learning system is easy to navigate. That measures ease of use. So we should not make all the questions about technical support only. So we need broader coverage. And then we have the instrument validated and examine reliability as appropriate. So the results can help the school identify which parts of the system are working and which areas need improvement. Okay, so let us summarize today's lesson. Number one, a research instrument is a tool used to collect or measure research data. Number two, a good instrument starts with the research problem, then variables, then indicators. Number three, validity asks whether we are measuring the intended concept. And number four, reliability asks whether we are getting consistent results. Number five, expert validation and pilot testing. So this help improve our instrument. Number six, high reliability does not automatically establish validity. So what is our ultimate goal? So we want an instrument that is clear, appropriate, valid, reliable, and aligned with our research objectives. Now, let's see if you really understood the lesson. So this is just a review. I will ask these questions and I want you to remember the answers. Okay, so number one, what is a research instrument? So don't just say questionnaire. Remember, questionnaire is only one example. Number two, what is the difference between a variable and an indicator? Variable is the broader concept. Indicator is the specific aspect. Number three, what makes a research item clear and unbiased? It should be understandable and should not lead the respondents toward an answer. Number four, what does validity ask? Am I measuring the right thing? Number five, what does reliability ask? Are my results consistent? Number six, what is content validity? It looks at whether the instrument adequately covers the important aspects or indicators of the variable. Number seven, why is expert validation important? Because qualified people can evaluate whether the items are relevant, clear, appropriate, and aligned. Number eight, what is pilot testing? It is a preliminary administration of the instrument to an appropriate smaller group. Number nine, when is Cronbach's alpha commonly used? For examining internal consistency of appropriate multi-item scales. Number 10, why is a high reliability coefficient not enough to prove validity? Because reliability only tells us about consistency. It does not by itself prove that we are measuring the correct construct. So very important iyon. So let's end with the most important idea from today's lesson. So a good research instrument measures the writing and measures it consistently. The phrase writing refers to validity. The phrase consistently refers to reliability. So if you remember only one thing from today's lesson, remember this. Validity is equal to writing. Reliability is equal to consistent results. And when we have appropriate evidence of both, we have stronger research evidence. So kapag gagawa kayo ng questionnaire for your own research, huwag niyong isipin na mas maraming questions, mas maganda. So hindi ganun yon. Ang importanteng tanong, Relevant ba ang questions? Malinaw ba? Nasusukat ba nito ang variable? Consistent ba ang results? So that is what makes a research instrument stronger. And that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully, you'll be able to apply this learning and somehow help you understand confusing concepts. Again, this is Teacher Jana. Goodbye and God bless.